Hello, my name is Taylor Lage. I'm an undergraduate research assistant here at Black Hills State University for Dr. Amelia Flint. Thank you so much for showing your interest in learning more about my research regarding coping with COVID-19. First, I would like to thank the Black Hills Research Symposium for allowing me the opportunity to share my research project virtually for the 23rd annual BHRS. Furthermore, I would like to thank Sarah Leedon, my fellow research peer, for being a part of my research, as well as, and most importantly, Dr. Amelia Flint for encouraging and supporting this research project. My study is called How Are They Doing? Primary Caregiver Perceptions of Child Coping with COVID-19. I would like to share my research question to iterate what we want to answer within this study. The first question involves, is there a difference in the way primary caregivers of a child with an intellectual disability or who is on the autism spectrum in terms of how they perceive this child is coping with COVID-19 when compared to primary caregivers and neurotypical children? What this question is asking is what we are looking for is a difference in coping mechanisms between children with intellectual disabilities and those without. Moreover, we are looking to see if there is a difference in the way that primary caregivers perceive their child given these two different groups. The second research question here is, if a difference is found, where do those differences lie in terms of coping strategies? This involves categories including positive versus negative coping strategies or active versus passive coping strategies. And so now here's the why. This is the reason that this research should and is being done. We want to improve primary caregiver-child relations amid a global pandemic. Also, we want to help primary caregivers understand adequate coping strategies for their neurotypical or atypical child. As we are enduring this pandemic, external support is gone for both intellectual disabilities and regularly cognitively developing children. And for parents, this can become very overwhelming if their responsibilities have not changed, if anything, gotten greater. Now I would like to share a really big impact that I think that has been on both caregivers and children with intellectual disabilities and those without. Their external support is gone, like I had said. And so all of these behavioral therapies, and this is not limited to that, is closed down and they are forced to transfer via telehealth. And this requires increased parental involvement, and they have to increase their energy, time, and responsibility with this as well, and that can be difficult to accommodate to. With that, I would like to get into a little bit of background given my research. Individuals with intellectual disabilities and those on the autism spectrum are not immune to experiencing psychological distress, particularly in times of great change such as COVID-19. Several organizations such as the American Association of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities have identified this as an issue to be addressed during this ongoing pandemic. The intentional goal of this proposed study is to examine the perception of primary caregivers on the way their child is coping with COVID-19. Since the research indicates that individuals on the autism spectrum and or those with intellectual disabilities experience additional complications related to COVID-19, differences between the primary caregivers of neurotypical children and atypical children will be analyzed, as I have reiterated previously. Now, I would like to back up all of the information that I have said by giving credible and relevant information by 2 authors. My sources include one by Adrian Eshraghi titled COVID-19, The Challenges Faced by Individuals with Autism and Their Families. This can be found within the Lancet Psychiatry. My second source that I will be referencing is one by the last name of Kokina. This article is titled Social Story Interventions, an examination of effectiveness in addressing transition difficulties of students with autism spectrum disorders. So it's going to start off here with Eshraghi. Early research suggests that children on the autism spectrum might have difficulty comprehending what is going on in regards to COVID-19, as well as the lives of individuals with intellectual disabilities have been disrupted because of shutdown programs, changed routines, physical distancing, and mask wearing. Any disruption for a person with an intellectual disability, for someone who is on the autism spectrum, will have substantial difficulty complying to new rules regardless of the situation. And that is quoted by Kokina, 2012. With that, I would like to share some logistics within this study proposal. I am going to contact the coordinator of Special Olympics South Dakota and the Spearfish Public School administrators via email to recruit primary caregivers to be participants. As of right now, we are in the process of recruiting participants, as this is an ongoing study right now, and that will happen this summer and fall. The second thing I will be doing is participants will be directed to a link to complete 2 questionnaires amounting to 63 questions about their child's coping through this pandemic. 3 of these questions are going to be demographic based. That means this is regarding the child's gender, age, disability, and severity of the disability if it applies. The other 60 questions is regarding the child's coping, and this is within the perception of the primary caregiver. Some examples within the questionnaire is as followed. I perceive my child puts their trust in God. This is under the category of religious coping. I perceive my child discusses their feelings with someone. This is under emotional support. Finally, I perceive my child tries to come up with a strategy about what to do, and this is under the category of planning through coping. The last part of my study proposal is that frequency data will be analyzed and compared across the 2 groups of primary caregivers. And like I said, this is an ongoing study, and that will be collected in summer and fall. Okay. I would like to end my presentation today with a quote from Eshraghi that I had stated previously. He charges providers with ensuring that our most valuable patients receive the same standard of care afforded to neurotypical patients. And this research proposal will charge researchers with the same responsibility. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of this presentation. I very much appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, you can reach me at taylor.lage, that's taylor.lage at Yellow Jackets, that's plural, at bhsu.edu. Thank you so much and have a great day.